Hello, everybody. Good morning. Hopefully, things are going well for you. And even if not, maybe we can redefine what well means in certain ways. So, I'm getting an echo. Hold on one second. I don't want to hear that. There we go. There we go. All right. Echo's gone, at least in the room. So, hopefully, things are going well for you today. Wow. Hopefully things are going well for you today. For those of you who I have not met yet, welcome. My name is Jay, and what we do here on this particular stream is to build you. That's the goal. The goal is to build you. And by build, I simply mean that we've been laying down the foundation, if you will, that gives you the freedom to go out there and build more skills in many different areas, because those skills, those talents that each of us possess, those are that's the foundation for our ability to go out there and be of value to the marketplace, be of value to friends, family members, etc. So what does that mean? That means today we're going to briefly talk about a skill that is, it's just out there. It's just something that's very obvious, but it's not something that I hear talked about a lot. And it's definitely something that you and I should be paying attention to most importantly, influence our ability to be consistent, to be persistent, to be, ready to deliver value at any given moment as the marketplace may demand. So for those of you who are meeting for the first time, welcome. Hi. If this is your first time here, do me a favor, go ahead and put the word first, F-I-R-S-T, first in the chat, which reminds me, for those of you watching on Facebook, currently I think we're down to 5 locations now. So we're cutting them down, the number of different locations, and we're going to be right there at facebook.com/CashFlowDiary live. Facebook.com/CashFlowDiary live. If you want to make sure that you don't miss any of these, then you're going to want to be right there at facebook.com/CashFlowDiary live. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, you are in the right spot. So no need for you to go anywhere. However, if you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell and make sure you turn it to all notifications, that would be very encouraging. That way we know you got the message, the notification when we go live. Also, for those of you who know that we here at Cashflow Diary, what we do is all around the world of short-term rentals and real estate and etc. Just know that that's not what we do here on this particular stream at this particular time. And if you're looking for that type of information, obviously we do provide it. It's over at cashflowdiary.com/learn live. Again, that's cashflowdiary.com/learn live. All right. So let's get down to what I was referring to inside the title. In fact, let me remind myself, what did I say? Yeah, how to change your state and escape even if you don't have supernatural powers. Now, on a day like today, many of us know that there's a person who, rose, right? And you're like, well, that's definitely a state change. How do you go from dead to alive? That is not something that I have the power to do. And more importantly, it still illustrates what I'm talking about, because there are times when we are called upon to produce in a very consistent fashion, or you're called upon to be something for someone that you might not feel like being. I'm saying this because in order for you and I to continue through life, through work, through family, with friends, regardless of circumstances, and to become the dependable thing. See, when you're looking to provide value, when you're looking to be known for a thing, be, do, have, whatever it is, you want to become a more generous person, awesome. In order to do that, that's something that you would have to display on a consistent basis. And being consistent that way is important. In fact, I often think about, I have to be as faithful and as consistent as gravity. There's never a time where, gravity's not affecting you in some way, shape, or form. And that is a challenge for sure, but it is definitely something that you can become known for. You can become known for anything that you want to become known for. And what we're talking about is building us into something that we actually want to be known for, as opposed to something that randomly happens, because there is a reason to do it. And most importantly, there's a way that we can influence all of those things. Let me be a little bit more specific. Over the past, 10, 11, 12 days, we've talked about doing certain things on a consistent basis. And there'll be some days where you don't feel like doing them. In fact, there will probably be many, which is why we established that to win the week, you only need to get 4 out of the 7 days. You got to go 4 for 3. You get 3 losses out of a week. Awesome. In order to win the month, you go 3 and 1, meaning you get 3 entire weeks where you win, 1 where you completely lost, and it's okay. To win the year, you've got 5 months of failure that you can just go, cool, I lost 5 months, right? So that means 7 months you win, 5 months you lost. And what it comes down to is that some of those lost days, they're going to be days where you just don't feel like it. And then some of those days, it's going to be imperative for this particular skill to change your state and be able to escape. It's going to be something that you're going to call upon in order to create a win. Out of what seems like, what feels like, what is to the general eye, to the untrained eye, if you will, is a loss, right? How do you create a win out of those losses? And again, we have a great template, because again, while I'm not saying you're going to go from dead to alive, what I am saying is you might feel, your business might be, your family, your relationship, your attitude, all of these things might feel like they are dead, but they can become alive. Let me say it differently. We can become responsible for even the things that it feels like we don't have any control over, i.e. our emotions. So, how does that work? In general, there are a number of tools out there that I think Anthony Robbins calls them state changers. And in the process, when you're presented with, so hear this. Every morning, every day, every hour, we're all presented with reasons to not be faithful, consistent, positive, all of the things that we know we need to be, want to be, would like to be known for. We're all presented with the antithesis of the thing that we are striving towards, which assumes we're striving towards something, right? So once you stop striving, then hey, there's there's no resistance, right? But so we should be striving towards something. And every day, we're all presented with reasons that seem valid, information that seems plausible, ideas that seems worthy of acceptance, that are the antithesis of the very thing that we can and should become. Every last day, every moment. And we get to choose, literally, which ideal will we believe, which one will we follow. And there are times when I know for myself, I can go down a negative spiral easily. I can sit there, and yet I'm supposed to be producing, yet I'm supposed to be hanging out with my kids, yet I'm supposed to be enjoying the time just sitting next to my wife. Now, that, which is interesting for me, just like one of the things, I can sit next to her and just be quiet, and that's fine for me. And so anyway, but my point is, there are times where you have ideals that you're after, and there are things that are in the way that feel like obstacles, that feel like that's what I should be doing. And we have to find a way to change our state. We have to build our skill, build us. Our ability to change our state will influence the actions, the habits, the character, and the destiny that we ultimately end up shaping. So, what do you do when you feel like you don't feel like doing the thing, whatever the thing is, right? Because right now, it's one of the challenges that I know that has been happening is, okay, cool. How do we get more exercise? Like physically more exercise. So we've made some decisions about what it is that we're going to be doing on a consistent basis. And I know there will be mornings and or days where I'm not going to feel like doing it. But in order to achieve the goal, guess what? I've got to create state changers that can help me put myself in the position, in the mindset towards the thing that I'm after, right? So what are those for you? I'm literally asking you to come up with those, and I'm going to share some of mine with you so that you can hopefully glean the idea, the concept of what's necessary. For example, this one's not mine, but I've heard it said from so many people, I think some of you will relate, where you might, maybe one of the things you're feeling is stress, but what you need to do is be productive right now. And in response to feeling that stress, being offered continually feeling stress, that is what you're being offered. You say something to the effect of, I need to go for a run or a walk, where you actually go for a run or a walk. That's what you do. You physically go somewhere to run and or walk, right? Now, hopefully you're running or walking with the intent of returning to the thing or the objective that you were previously obtaining or seeking after. However, my point is, maybe running and or walking is your state changer. It's the thing that allows you to get free, dare I say, escape from the emotional trap that you may have been in, and then intentionally change it to something else. It changes that ability or that feeling of, I can't break through right now. And running is your thing. And that's great, perfect. You have running and or walking. Then my question becomes, what happens when you can't run or walk? Like what happens if that suddenly becomes a thing you can't do, or worse, you don't feel like running or walking? Do you now just sit there? I don't think so. Having multiple state changers, i.e. no single points of failure, is imperative to our ability to continue to produce as human beings, whatever it is, or just live a quality life for that matter. So in my world, there are a number of things that I find ironic, but that are also state changers nonetheless. Walking happens to be one of them. Okay, so I will definitely put myself in the walking category, but not running. Walking, yes. Running, no. And I don't really understand why, but for me, that's a thing that can change the state, but the mood, the feeling, that can help me return in a better position to tackle the problem, whatever the problem would be that is in front of me, right? So simply having walking as one of the many items that's there is it's great for me. Now, a number of the things that I know that are state changes for myself are creative in nature, some are spiritual in nature, some don't even require my active participation per se. For example, and I still have never figured this one out, but something that I know that changes my state and can allow me to get back to a more productive version of myself is listening to classical music. Now, I don't know why, and I honestly don't really care, like the science behind it. I'm sure there is, but I know that if I'm listening to classical music, there's one thing that's very, very true. It's darn near impossible for me to be or feel mad. It's just, I don't know why. I have theorized that it has something to do with I think the old cartoons like Bugs Bunny, etc., because it was set to a lot of classical music. That could be it, but I do not know. But it doesn't matter, because the main thing that I know, that I need to know, is that that's there to hack my emotions, for lack of a better way of calling it. That's exactly what we're talking about today, is how do you hack your emotions? How do you hack you so that you get you to keep doing the thing when it doesn't feel like it, when you feel like dead and blah and I don't want to, right? So I've never figured out why, but I do know that classical music is one of those hacks for me. Obviously, well, maybe actually not obviously, but for a major one is also praying, right? But not, sometimes it's praying and walking. Sometimes it's praying in a completely enclosed space. Sometimes it's praying when you can, go near the beach where the waves are really loud. It's awesome. Or along a busy street. There are many different ways that can be leveraged in order to, again, change my state. What I'm saying is, each of us needs our Batman? The utility belt. That's what he called it. So we all need that utility belt. Okay, cool. When I am feeling this, which is the antithesis of what I need to be feeling right now, because I'm supposed to be doing X, Y, and Z, I need a way to change my state. Otherwise, the reality of things may never change. Because our feelings, our emotions are not exactly reliable, right? So if you don't feel like doing it, that could also be the very thing you need to be doing, right? So walking for me is one. Classical music is another. Praying is another. Also, though, what I've discovered over time is that creative things like photography, like taking a photo, like not going in the woods, if there is such a thing, going into nature, or just bringing a camera with the intent to take photos, allows, again, the same thing to occur. Changes the state, changes the mood, allows a different part of my brain to come together and make things happen, right? So using photography as that state changer is important. Sorry, it started flashing again, which you guys know what that means. Because, again, still got to make sure you're doing the sleep in the water, right? Until... All right, cool. Now stop flashing. All right. But photography is one of those things. I've also discovered that in this time, or in times like this, creating a video, not so much a live stream like this, but an actual turning bits and pieces of something like this into a video. Yeah, that's different, where you go back in and you do the editing and you make the stuff do the thing. That also can become that same thing that is a state changer. Again, what you're looking for are the things that you can do, the things inside yourself. You're not looking for the external stimulus that then puts you at the mercy of someone or something else. For example, it's not, hey, when the sun is shining, then I feel XYZ, because the sun may not shine every day, or on the day that you need it to be, to do the thing that you need to do, right? So you want a list of activities and or things that you can do to change your state, so that your mental state can get back on track towards the thing that you're after. Now, I'll share with you one of the fastest state changers that I am aware of for me, and you can adopt it if you like. For example, when I find myself, or especially mentally, in a having gone down one of those dark trails that we are often offered when it comes to, your thoughts, especially about the future, or anxiety or fear or doubt or discouragement and everything that could be going on in your life right now. One of the fastest ones that I know is to think about the following things in this order. And it's going to sound interesting to some of you, but it's something that I'll do. So when I recognize, first of all, when I'm aware that my brain has gone that way, what I do is I stop and force myself to think about an answer to each of the following. What is that? What are those things? What I do is I force myself to think about something. Oh, I just realized you guys haven't seen any of these. I think about something that is true. Think about something that is pure. Something that is noble. Something that is right. Lovely, lovely. Excellent. Think of something that is, again, praise what exactly. And I try to find or create something that I know of that is in each of these categories. And I just think of one thing, just one. You don't have to think of 20, just one thing, right? Because if I can think of one thing, like what's true, well, gravity is true, right? I said that earlier. The sun is shining. That is true. The lights are on. That is also true, right? Something that is pure. For whatever reason, I always think of newborn children most of the time, which I think is interesting, or toddlers, and but what is noble? And again, I start thinking of the concept of a knight, right? Or the concept of sacrifice. But think of something in each of those categories. And what ends up happening for me is that what was previously not the productive track of thinking becomes the productive track of thinking, which then allows me to keep being consistent. Remember when I said that some days it's going to be every 15 minutes that you got to check in with yourself, and it doesn't hurt to set what I like to do is if you can set alarms so that they vibrate instead of actually make an audible sound, because I've learned that it's harder to ignore the vibration, especially if it's on your arm. It's harder to ignore that vibration than it is the audible sound. So I like the vibration, and when you set it off for every 15 minutes, if you check in with yourself, hey, in the last 15 minutes, was I productive or not? Is it time to change my state? Then if so, what can I do, right? Do I need to go walk for 15? Is it time to put on some classical music while I'm working? Is it time to pray? Is it time to think about create an image for photography? And again, because photography is photography, you could create an image out of almost anything, anywhere, at any time. Is it time to work on video creation or something of that nature? Or is it just simply time to think of something that's true, noble, pure, right, lovely, admirable, excellent, praiseworthy? Is that what it's time for? Having access to state changers, well, it gives you an internal hack to yourself. One of the more sneaky state changers that's actually happening right now in front of you, is if you go back about, I say, 4 weeks or so and look at any of the live streams that I did, one of the things that you will notice is that I was sitting down, right? I was sitting down, like physically sitting down. And about 4 weeks ago, it was like, you know what? I need to stand up to change my state. And that's really the difference is between sitting down and standing up. And it allows a different level of creativity for me in order to be able to not just create, but to produce and to be consistent and to want to feel like doing the thing, right? When you are a knowledge worker, when you are, in my case, a father or parent, when you have people that depend upon you or you depending upon you, your ability to perform consistently requires that you have certain things at the ready to take the things that are unreliable about yourself, i.e. your emotions, and discipline them in such a way that they don't become a hindrance, right? Being able to call down, if you will, an ability to focus is important. In fact, I'm going to submit this as the last idea on this topic of state changes, just for your acceptance. The ability to change another human's state is by far one of the most highest valued, rewarded, compensated skills on the planet, right? One of the most. You're like, what are you talking about? Now, I'll use a gentleman that many of us who know, we know of him and we have probably heard him before, but there are many individuals like him, right, in the world. The gentleman I'm thinking of right now is Michael Jackson. Now, I'm not even talking about anything other than the music he created. Period. Think about it for a second. Even though it was created a long time ago, in some cases, it still resonates, right? It still changes your state when the music comes on. Almost instantly, right? It doesn't even, to some degree, yes, it matters which song, but he was compensated, and is the state still being compensated for an ability to change my state, your state, and millions upon millions and probably billions of humans' states. That's what he was compensated for. Now, he did that through music, but because you and I wanted to feel something different in a lot of cases, or didn't like what we were feeling at the time, or what have you, his ability to do that on command with music, that's really what it was all about in a lot of ways. There are a number of individuals. I also think of Stevie Wonder, right? And I also think of LeBron James and other athletes. I also think Kobe, Michael, right? When you're talking about football, basketball. Montana, now I'm thinking about football. Moss, right? There are lots of individuals who change our state, and what they get compensated for is their ability to do that consistently. Especially when I'm thinking about athletes, especially athletes that have made the transition from their sport to something else. And the craziest example today, I think about Shaquille O'Neal, right? He's definitely made many transitions across many different things. Charles Barkley as well. They change our state, and we seek that state change, that escape in some way, shape, or form because of other things that are going on. Obviously, we have actors and actresses, or is it just actors now? Whatever, you know what I meant. Because at the end of the day, the ability to change your state, my state, our state is a very valuable skill. And there are people who dedicate their lives to influencing the state that we are in. And what I am saying to you, what I wanted to submit for your acceptance today is just build your skill. Begin to observe, begin to look at, begin to consider that, hey, I should have my own utility belt of state changers so that if I find myself feeling unproductive or feeling unworthy or feeling guilty or feeling something, feeling doubtful, right? Because a lot of building ourselves means we're building ourselves to become something that we're currently not, or something we believe we're not, or to fulfill a role we currently have never explored before. and we have to gain more skills to do that. So all of those feelings are, common, but we still have to build the skill. And being able to do that, that's what happens. I also think about either Martin Luther King Jr. When you hear his words, his cadence, his voice, his message, the timbre, the tone, when you hear it, it changes your state. Obama had this too, right? It changes your state. Now, in general, I'm talking about changing your state in the positive, right? But there are some things that change our state in the negative too. But my point, we're going to focus on those things, those tools, those things you can do, those things that are within your control to be able to influence your own state so that you're not dependent upon some external stimulus to get you to become the thing, the person, the resource that you're hoping to become in the new marketplace, in the new world. We might as well call it what is happening. A new version of our world economy and everything else is currently being born right here before our eyes, and the cards haven't been dealt out yet. You get to choose, and you get to choose by creating it first. There's not 52 cards in this deck. We don't know how many cards are in the deck. We just know that there is a deck of cards. And now is the time for you to choose. And we all get to be inspired by each other and the roles that we can play. But those of us that choose to build skills, to discover, to unleash, if you will, what is inside, what has always been there, to leverage this time as in the excuse we've been waiting on to step into the greatness that we were born to be. I think that's going to be very exciting to watch as innovation comes into play. So over this next week, year, months, however long it takes for the new version of you to emerge, just ask yourself, what have I done in the past that literally takes me from, like, how you've seen those before and after commercials, right? Before I was feeling this and now I'm feeling this because this intervening thing happened in the middle, right? What is that? What is that? Is it meditating? Is it deep breathing? What is that for you? And have many of them. Because you can't have just one, because one can be removed. Two, not so much. It's harder. It's no different than what we talked about when it comes to how you produce income or receive income in the marketplace. A single point of failure is asking for trouble, right? And we've had the privilege of watching single points of failure literally fall apart in many different ways over these past months. But now we're going to build. We're going to design something intentionally that is more resilient than anything we've ever experienced. And we're going to be the ones that have the capacity to influence it, to control it, so that the external stimulus that we're being offered every day no longer is the thing that's in control. So, for those of you who are here for the first time, or maybe the 101st, do me a favor. Just write down one thing, something that I shared with you, something that you learned, something that you saw, something that you are going to be able to then go believe, do, practice, that helped you today from this video. Because that's the goal. That's why this is here. And most importantly, when you type something in the chat, someone else who's watching might be able to take license from what it is that you wrote down and go, oh, that's right, I did learn that. So your participation is 100% important, right? So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to look over here in the chat to see what it is that you guys wrote, most importantly, as well as your comments and any questions that you may have asked. And for those of you who are on Facebook, again, I remind you that we're making our way over to one Facebook page and one YouTube channel for all of the live streams, which means you should be at facebook.com/CashFlowDiary live or youtube.com/CashFlowDiary. And in either case, you want to hit the notification bells, because if you don't, you might not get the notification. We don't want that, because at the end of the day, we want to be able to help you build you so that you can then be enabled, right? I was taught a long time ago, and you've heard me say it before, if you build the people will build the business. And doing this work right now while you have the time, makes all the sense. And let's be clear, you've always had the time, but now it's easier in a lot of cases to actually get it done. All right, so let me see what you guys typed or said today, and we'll go from there. So let's see. Okay, awesome. Excellent. Annie, good morning. And Trucker 164, good. Welcome. Glad you're here. Thanks for being here, Chris. Oh, okay. Wow. Chris Ivy Watch. Yes, thank you for tagging and sharing. I like it. Where can I buy Cashflow 202 for Oh, good point, Robin. I have no idea. That was a long time ago, back when CDs were actually used. I think you'd probably have an easier time finding a CD drive that you could plug into your computer. That would be my guess right there. Happy Sunday, Bill. Stand up. Yes, I am. And yes, Annie, happy Easter. Now, for those of you who have joined us today, I definitely, hold on a second, where we go? That's the button I'm looking for. For those of you who have joined us today, thank you for taking the time to be here. Again, we will be here tomorrow at 8 a.m. and we are definitely looking forward to helping you continue to build you. Enjoy the time that you have today with your family. Enjoy the time becoming a bigger, better version of yourself. And most importantly, remember that you can still change your state. It's not too late to begin becoming the new version of what you can be, and indeed could always have been. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun talking to you today. I look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time.